Konnichiwa, sensei gata. Hello, fellow teachers. I'm Edo Sensei, or Mr. Edmund, and I'd just like to take you through a quick tutorial about how to use escape rooms, or how to gamify your lessons using Google Forms. Now, this is something that I made in the first week of online learning with my Year 9-10 Japanese class. Now, some of you may know what locked rooms are, or escape rooms. Basically what it is you take a group of people and you lock them in a room, and there's clues all over the room, and they need to investigate the room to find information in the room to try and work out the codes for some of the locks so they can, open new rooms or open chests to get keys to escape from the room. Hence, escape room. And I've tried to replicate that experience on my Google Classroom. So this is my class, LAN 114, Pop Culture or Pop Culture. The story that I've set up is Sensei has been kidnapped. Now, I have 17 who finished that one. 3 of those have told me they're still trying to work it out, and I've just copied through some hints to them. But yeah, 17 have finished it. That's a really much higher engagement rate than I'm used to seeing, so that's good. What I'm going to do is, just to save everyone's privacy, I've created this in an empty classroom just to save people's privacy. Now, what you do when you're creating these forms is you create a Google form, and that's what you assign to the kids. So this is what the kids saw. Sensei has been kidnapped. Your teacher has been kidnapped. You've tracked the culprits down to this abandoned building in Old Tokyo. Quick, after them. This is like, if you can actually read Japanese, it looks like, it's actually an old restaurant, but it looks creepy, so whatever. Shimatta! Damn, there's a lock in the way. You're going to have to try and solve the puzzle to get your way in. So, lock 1. I've told them it's a 4-digit code with no spaces. So they have to type their answer in here. If they try and type in words, it'll say "chigao." Nope, that's not it. If you try and type in the wrong number, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to say nope, that's not it. So how are they going to work it out? Well, I add this extra bit of information here. You find this crumpled note on the ground. Maybe it contains a clue. Those of you who read Japanese will know that says, don't forget, the boss's mum's birthday is blah, then the father's birthday is blah. So I've told the kids that it's a number. They've got this note here in front of them. They don't need to be able to understand the whole note. As long as they know it's numbers, they can pull up their notes on numbers and look for the symbols that are numbers. So that says 3, 2, 5, 4. If they type in 3, 2, 5, 4. There we are. There's the code. And it'll let you go to the next room. So, you enter the first room. It's a long hallway with many doors, but which one did they go through? There are 8 doors. You find a key ring hanging from a hook on the wall. But there are 7 keys left. Which door will you enter? Type your answer in English, no capital letters or spaces or other symbols. So you can type in number here, it's going to say, nope, nothing, that doesn't work. For those of you who can read Japanese, that says aka, or red, midori, green, kiro, and I've spelled that wrong actually. Kiro is yellow, murasaki, purple, kuro, black, ao, blue, shiro, white, and kin, gold. It's a reading activity. The kids need to be able to read that and figure out what it means. But there's a logic puzzle too. There's 8 doors, but there's only 7 keys. The logic is that the key that's missing is the door they need to open. So the only one that's not there is black. So if you type in black, it lets you through. Kuro, you enter the black door. You see some hostages, but neither of them is sensei. Will you rescue the hostages? Kids need to be able to read that and figure out which one is yes, which one's no. If they answer no, it just says, hidoi da yo. You're cruel. Admonish them for their cruelty, and then if you try to advance through the form, it just sends you back to this room. So I'm railroading the kids a bit, but if they go yes, hostages, yay, useful information. The hostages tell you Sensei is being held in the big boss's room, and which of the henchmen has the key? You proceed down the hall. So, tekinin ga iru yo. They are enemies. Oh no, you've stumbled across the kidnapper's henchman. You'll need to defeat the one that has the keys in order to get through to where Sensei is being held. So here's a description the hostages gave you for one of the keys. I've uploaded this as an image, so they can't just copy and paste this into Google Translate. But that says green hat, not wearing. Black kimono wearing, white socks wearing, white jacket wearing, glasses wearing. So if you look at the people there, you've got to figure out which fits that description. If you go through the logic, it's actually number 5. So they've got to choose number 5 to move on. If they choose the wrong one, they get sent to a different section. Oh no, you got beaten by this guy. Will you go back? -1 life, okay. And they can try again. If they choose the correct answer this time. Congratulations! Omedetou! The kidnapper has been found and Sensei has been rescued. Yokata! Isn't that good? Turns out it was Smokey all along. Kawaii neko da ne. So Smokey got a little speech bubble there saying, oh no, my plans have been thwarted. Nyan. Angry face. Arigatou gozaimasu is what I'm saying. Thank you very much. Enter your name, champion, so that I may know who saved me. And the kids type in their name there, and they hit submit. When they hit submit, that marks off in Google Classrooms that they have completed the challenge. They can't actually submit it until they've made it to this page, which means they can't cheat and pretend that they've solved the activity. Now, I know that this has been popular because all of a sudden, like 4 or 5 of the students in my class have screen captured Smokey's face there. He's my cat. He's been in some of our Zoom calls. And they've changed their display pictures on Google Classroom to that. They've told me they've started the cult of Smokey. So yeah, pretty much everyone who's finished the challenge has said this is amazing. It's fun. That for me was fantastic feedback. It did take me like 3.5 hours to make this, but half of that was spent screwing around with Google Forms trying to make it work. I'm thinking the next one's probably going to be quicker. Now, if you want to stick around for a bit to see how this is made, I'll go into the edit form and show you. Alright, so let's go into this edit section here. So what you've got to do is break this up into sections. Each of these sections is a page where the students land on. So there's section 1 here. I've got the title here. That's the title for the whole locked room. This right here is just a picture. So you add an image, upload that image there, and you can either do that by uploading it. So click and drag, browse for the file. You can take a photo with your webcam. You can paste a URL in there. You can upload a photo from your Google Photos account or a Google Drive, or just do a Google image search. So, creepy Japanese building. And that'll come up with some options. And you can just choose which one you want. I'm going to keep the one I got because I like it. This is just a title. This is if you just want to put some information with nothing else on it. You could upload a video. If you want some of the clued information there to be a video, you can press that button to upload a video. But this here is what decides whether they proceed or not. So you do that by adding this question here. Now, short answer is probably the one you want to go with. Short answer is they type a few words in the box here. Now I've got an image of the lock there just to make it look exciting. I've told them what the code is, 4-digit code, no spaces. And you've got to put on this button here, required, so they can't just move on to the next one without typing in an answer. And you want response validation. So when you type in response validation, you can say the answer must be a number. It needs to be equal to a specific amount. And that's the answer that I'm looking for. This right here is an error message. So if they don't type in the right answer, you can type in this error message there. So then this was the clue I put up there. It's a crumpled note. I'll show you how I did that later. Now there's the other type of block you want to put up is a multiple choice block. So you've either got short answer with response validation, means they have to type in the right answer. Multiple choice is something that branches them in different directions. Now I could have done this one here as a multiple choice. I've uploaded this picture, I've given them the information, there's the picture. I could have made this multiple choice by saying which door do you want to go down, but no, I made this one another type of response validation. So this time the response I'm looking for is text. It must contain the word black. So if they type in black door, maybe that'd work. If they don't type in black, it'll say nope, nothing there, and they can't move on. Again, required, they can't move on. So here is my hostage situation. Now, this is the other type I was talking about, multiple choice. When you type on response validation here, you can say go to section based on answer. Now what I've done is I've said if they say height, which means yes, go to section 5, useful information. So they skip this one and they jump forward to useful information. And that will let them go to the next section, which is enemies are here. If they go no, that'll take them to section 4, hidoi da yo, you're cruel. That takes them here. So you'll notice at the bottom of this, after section 4, go to section 3. So it sends them back there. That's a good way to keep them in the loop if you want to send them back to a particular spot. Now finally, what I've got here is, here's the enemies ahead. I've made that one a multiple choice. And they can kind of game this just by selecting the right answer, selecting answers till they get the right one. The way I guard it against that is, for whatever answer they choose, it goes to that character. So say you choose this guy here, number 1, you're sent to this defeat screen, you must lose a life. Again, I've made that required. And afterwards you go back to that enemies are here thing. Or you could be really cruel and send them straight back to the front of the room. But I haven't done that. So again, there's a defeat screen for each of these bad guys. There we are. And finally, congratulations, section 12. So if you look up here, our guy number 5, that says go to section 12, congratulations. So that's the only option that's going to send them to the end of the form. And then you got down here at the bottom of this section, where to next? Well, if you don't have anything after this, then it just acknowledges that at the end. But I could have made this one, I could have set this one as submit form. So with this form I've made it so that you can't submit it until you've won, but you can be cruel and make it so that if they choose the wrong option, they do submit and they lose. So that's your choice as a form designer. Alright, so the way I was doing this is I just had like a little Microsoft PowerPoint set up where I would just paste pictures. There we are. So that's just a picture from my photo from my phone, and I'm inserting a speech bubble and typing in text. So I can edit that text if I want. Same thing with this. That's just a text box with text. In the background, I just googled crumpled paper. I googled blood stain, stuck that on top, and that's just a text box. Right there. Put that all back. Same thing with this. I just took a door, copied that multiple times. There's that thing there. I think I might just fix up the spelling on this now that I'm on it. Kiro. There we are. And there's my pictures of keys. There's my hostages in the room. See, all I'm really doing is just using snipping tool, and then I just save the photo, and then wherever you save that photo, that's what you upload to the form. Now this photo here with the bad guys, I could have been really cruel, and instead of giving them numbers, I could have written their name in Japanese, and they need to be able to read and understand Japanese text to know which option to pick. Again, that was the information they needed to solve, the reading exercise. There's the bad guy. So the idea with this is turning lesson content that you would give them anyway and wrapping a narrative around it so that it's interesting and turning it into a game so kids want to do it. You can have any activity there. So, you know, this is an activity I gave the Year 7s on counting up Japanese money. If you count up that money, that would actually equal 10,000, so 11,057 yen. So the number for that would be 11057. You could have that as the lock code. So do 11057. So that could be a lock for that activity. You could have a matching activity. This is another activity I gave Year 7. Here are the names of your subjects you study in Japanese, and here they're written in Japanese. So, you know, a standard matching activity, they just draw the lines to match them. But all then you need to do is go, all right, this is digit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is equal to these words. So if you match it up, N, English is equal, na, 3, G, G. So if they do it properly, they get the code Nagisa time. And you can use that as your locked door. Or maybe you want to use a comprehension activity. So if you read through this closed passage, you could assign letter or number values to each of the answers. Once they get the right answers, if they got it in the right space, that's the code to open the door. So that's a way to do that. Yeah, so this is the way I designed my locked activity. So I've got section 1 is the front door. It's just a short answer that they're reading. The number code is this. There's a hallway. It's short answer, reading. The logic is have to find the odd one out, black key. That takes them to section 3. It's a multiple choice decision. Rescue the hostages, no. Go to section 3B, rebuke, return. If they say yes, they get to go to section 4. They get the info to solve it. They get the info to solve section 5. And here's section 5. It's the dojo. It's multiple choice reading comprehension. Who has the key? If they go to these sections, they lose 1 life, then they return. If they get the right answer, they go to section 6. Here's a picture of Sensei and the cat. Students type in their name. It's a short answer. There's victory. Submit. There's a few different ways you could have done this, or I could have done it. So let's say instead I make it an info collection activity. So the front door's still the same. They need the code to get in, But in the hallway, instead of only having one room with a short answer lock on it, I make it a multiple choice room where they can go to any room, and I just create different sections for each color. So say they go to black and there's a lock, they need info 1 and info 2. So they go back to the hallway. All right. If they go into room red, they find info 1. If they go into room blue, they find info 2. Now they've got the info to solve the lock. So you're adding that element of exploration rather than having it as linear start to finish activity. Or you could make branching paths. So I could have said, all right, you go into the black door, you open that, that takes you to ending number 2. You open the red door, you go down that pathway, it takes you to ending number 1. You go down the blue pathway, it takes you to ending number 3. Or you could have those branching paths split apart and then come back together. Or if you want to get really creative, you can go cooperative mode. So that would involve splitting your class into 2 separate groups. You would create 2 separate forms. You create form A and form B. That in Google Classroom would require making 2 separate assignments. And what you do is you just only assign one of those assignments to half of the class. The other group you would assign to, the other assignment you would assign to the other half. And then you say have section 1, there's a lock. To open the lock, you need the info from 1B, which is in the other form. You can go, here's the info from 1B. That's where they get that over there, but the lock requires info from 1A. So you've got kids trapped in separate rooms and they need to exchange information with each other in order to advance. So that's advanced mode. That's kind of a little bit more like what real life locked rooms would look like. Again, that gets really complicated to make, but maybe the kids would be really into it. And it is encouraging collaboration instead of just individual work. I think that's enough from me. I hope you have fun with this and the kids enjoy it.